Hi, I'm Candace, and I'm so excited to share this message with you today on July 4th. I'm going to be talking about this historic moment in history that we are experiencing, and in relationship to the stars and astrology. In this moment, Pluto has transited and gone around the whole universe to the moment, the same moment when the Declaration of Independence was signed. So when we talk about Pluto in Capricorn at 27 degrees, what we're talking about is a snapshot in time. It is the moment they signed the Declaration of Independence. So at that time, Pluto was sitting in the constellation of stars called Capricorn at 27 degrees. And this is really an important aspect or trigger because Pluto hasn't been in the constellation of stars of Capricorn at 27 degrees in over 245 years, which is today. Okay, so it's a very important thing. I have astrologer friends who talk about Pluto as the Lord of the Hell realms. When Pluto comes back around and triggers your chart, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's about when is it going to happen. Pluto comes into your life to change the things that you refuse to let go of. It is going to happen. You can fight it, you can try and resist, but you might as well just allow the change to happen because it is going to happen. So the exact aspect will happen next February on 2022. That's when it will be exact. But when we have a trigger like this, the trigger happens in a window of time, okay? So when I talk about a window, imagine yourself at a train station, right? And you look on the horizon and you can't see anything, but all of a sudden you see a little speck, right? And then that speck gets closer and closer and closer and closer, and all of a sudden the train's at the station, right? And then the train leaves until you can't see the speck anymore. Okay, that's kind of like a window of time. That's what happens when a planet transits the constellation and comes back and triggers your chart. You don't see it, but it's out there and you can feel it, right? It's starting to work on what it is here to change. So that's what Pluto's going to do. But we have another planet that's really important, and that's called Saturn. Saturn is the law. It is the structure of reality. It's our limits, our boundaries. I explain Saturn as the speed limit sign. You don't have to see it, but you know it's always there, and you have to abide by the speed limit sign, the law. So Saturn brings structure into your world. Well, what's happening, or actually what happened last year, is that Saturn, which takes approximately 30 years to go around the constellation, Saturn came around and it touched on Pluto in the natal chart of the United States. Now this has happened several times since 1776, but what makes this important is that Saturn, this aspect with Saturn touching our natal Pluto, happens in the same window as Pluto touching our native Pluto. So Saturn comes in, and what we have now, we have Saturn and Pluto, which is Pluto transformation, Saturn structure. So what has started in 2020 is this changing of our boundaries. So things are beginning to change, right? We see it in our politics, we see it in our government, that there's a little unrest, just like 1776. Right? Before they signed the Declaration of Independence, the Crown was starting to put pressure on all the people in America. They were starting to battle. There were skirmishes. They were kind of like, in our election, there were kind of funny things going on. So that started in 2020 for us. A lot of things going on, people, a little unrest, the patriots saying, this isn't right. And that's when they signed the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Here we are next year, July 4th, 2022. Pluto will become exact. Pluto will come back and touch our native Pluto exactly, and that will be our July 4th, 1776, right? That is when I call it our digital revolutionary war 2.0. So when Washington was crossing the Delaware, up to that point, we were losing the war against England. But when Washington inspired his troops and they crossed the Delaware, that is when the whole war changed. And it started in our favor. Okay, that was the change, right? This is the moment astrologically that window of opportunity where the energy is building, and Washington now is winning the war. The whole war was about 8 years in time, and that's what we're going through as patriots, right? We're now at the beginning. The beginning kind of started in 2020. We're now here sitting in 2021. I'm telling you, 2022 and 2023 is going to be the train arriving at the station, okay? So this is going to be really the height of what we're going through, the changes. So we're looking in 2022. We're going to have a whole new batch of elections, right? Well, this is the moment. This is the moment when Pluto transits 245 years and comes back to that exact same place that we were when they signed the Declaration of Independence. So yes, our elections of 2022 are going to be extremely important. Can I tell you what's going to happen? No, but I can tell you there's going to be a metamorphosis. It's going to be Phoenix rising from the ashes. So here we are in 2021. The stars, Pluto has transited in our sky back to the place, the snapshot in time when the Declaration of Independence was signed. And Pluto has transited 245 years to come back to that exact same spot. Pluto sitting at 27 degrees in Capricorn. This hasn't happened. This is such a momentous time. And we also have Saturn that has transited and has come back to that exact same place, Pluto at 27 degrees Capricorn. In the documents in this video, you're going to see a history of what happened throughout history when Saturn conjunct Pluto. We have things like 9/11 bombing, the Vietnam War. Slavery was abolished in, I think, 1833 in Britain. The 13th Amendment was signed during a Pluto-Saturn conjunction. The Civil Rights was signed during a Saturn-Pluto conjunction. This is a powerful time for us. And it all has to do as to where the planets in the sky are moving and when they come back to a snapshot in time of the United States.